Welcome to the Conversion Bible, powered by Growth Suite. Growth Suite helps you run smart discount campaigns on your store. Test it for free on your Shopify store. Just land on the Shopify App Store now and test it for free. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of cognitive biases and how they can secretly influence your Shopify store's success.
That's right. We'll uncover how these mental shortcuts impact online shopping behavior and, more importantly, how you can use them ethically to boost your conversions.
It's like having a secret weapon, right? Understanding these biases is like having a cheat sheet for the human brain.
Exactly. We might think we're making rational choices, but these biases are often working behind the scenes, influencing our decisions without us even realizing it.
So let's get right to it. What exactly are cognitive biases, and why should Shopify store owners care about them?
I think of cognitive biases as, mental shortcuts our brains use to process information quickly. Instead of carefully analyzing every single detail, we rely on these biases to make faster decisions, especially when shopping online. Researchers have identified a ton of them, over 175.
Wow, 175. It's a lot to keep track of. I guess it's a good thing we're focusing on the ones that really matter for Shopify, right?
Absolutely. We'll break down the most impactful ones and give you actionable strategies to apply them to your store. But first, let's talk about something fascinating. Did you know that a whopping 95% of human decision-making happens subconsciously?
Seriously. So when a customer lands on my Shopify store, most of their decisions are driven by emotions and biases rather than logic.
Precisely. That's why understanding these subconscious influencers is so critical for Shopify success. By recognizing and addressing these biases, you can create a shopping experience that feels intuitive and persuasive.
This is starting to sound like mind control.
Not quite mind control, but definitely a way to gently nudge customers in the right direction. Let's start with the anchoring bias, one of the most powerful biases out there. It basically means that the first piece of information we encounter heavily influences our subsequent judgments.
Okay, give me an example of how this plays out in the real world, especially on Shopify.
Imagine you're browsing a clothing store online and see a stylish jacket. Originally priced at $200, but it's now on sale for $120. That initial $200 price acts as an anchor, making the $120 price tag seem like a steal, even if that was the intended price all along.
So that's why stores always show the original price next to the sale price. It's all about framing.
Exactly. You're anchoring their perception of value. Another clever way to use anchoring is by showcasing your premium or best value products first. This sets a high standard that influences how customers perceive the rest of your offerings.
That makes a lot of sense. So if I strategically place my most expensive product at the top of a collection page, it could make the other products seem more reasonably priced in comparison.
Precisely. It's all about playing with perceived value. Now let's move on to another fascinating bias, social proof.
Oh, social proof. I've heard of this one. Isn't it all about following the crowd?
Exactly. We humans are social creatures, and we're naturally inclined to trust the opinions and actions of others. If everyone else loves a product, we're more likely to believe it's good. Think about 5-star reviews, customer testimonials, or those 97 people are viewing this item right now notifications. All of these are examples of social proof in action.
So it's like that feeling of walking past a packed restaurant.
Yeah.
You assume it must be amazing because everyone else is eating there.
Precisely. To apply this to your Shopify store, integrate customer reviews prominently, display real-time purchase notifications, and showcase user-generated content. The more social proof you can provide, the more trustworthy your products will appear.
Right, social proof? Check. What about scarcity and FOMO? Those seem like powerful motivators.
You're absolutely right. Scarcity taps into our primal instincts. When something seems limited or rare, our brains light up and we suddenly want it more. It's like a built-in survival mechanism.
It's that limited edition craze. Everyone wants what they can't have.
Exactly. On Shopify, you can leverage this by showing remaining stock counts, using phrases like only 3 left in stock, or by implementing countdown timers for special sales. This creates a sense of urgency and encourages customers to act quickly before they miss out.
It's like a little adrenaline rush pushing them to hit that buy now button.
Exactly. But a word of caution. Honesty is key. Never create fake scarcity. Shoppers are savvy and they can spot inauthenticity a mile away.
Good point.
Mm.
It's all about building trust, not tricking people.
Right.
So what about framing? I've heard that the way you present information can also influence decisions.
You're spot on. The framing effect highlights how the same information can be perceived very differently depending on how it's presented. For instance, saying 30% off sounds way more appealing than pay 70% of the original price, even though it means the exact same thing.
It's like the classic glass half full versus glass half empty scenario.
Precisely. On your Shopify store, frame discounts positively, emphasize the benefits customers gain, and use language that triggers those positive associations. For example, instead of saying avoid wasting time, try gain more free time.
Okay, that makes sense. Now let's talk about something I struggle with, choice overload. I tend to offer a wide range of products, but sometimes I wonder if it's too much.
That's a great point. Choice overload is a real phenomenon, and it can be a conversion killer. Offering too many options can actually overwhelm shoppers and lead to decision paralysis. They end up buying nothing at all because they're stuck analyzing every single option.
It's like standing in front of a wall of cereal boxes in the supermarket and feeling completely paralyzed.
Exactly. The key on Shopify is to strike a balance. Offer enough variety to cater to different preferences, but avoid overwhelming customers with endless choices.
So what are some practical ways to combat choice overload on my Shopify store?
Think clear categories, well-defined filters, and perhaps even product comparison tools that allow customers to quickly compare key features without getting bogged down in too many details.
It's all about simplifying the decision-making process.
Precisely. Guide them gently toward the perfect choice without making them feel like they need a PhD in your product catalog. Now, we've covered some key biases, but let's see how they come into play throughout the entire customer journey.
That sounds great. But before we move on, let's take a quick break and hear a word from our sponsor, Growth Suite. Don't forget, Growth Suite is your go-to app for running those smart discount campaigns on your Shopify store. Check it out for free on the Shopify App Store.
Welcome back to the Conversion Bible. Let's pick up where we left off and talk about how to use these cognitive biases strategically across the entire Shopify customer journey.
Let's do it. We'll start with that critical first impression, the homepage. Remember, you only have a few seconds to capture a visitor's attention and make them want to stick around.
So what are some tactical tips for making that happen, considering what we've learned about biases? Well, leveraging the anchoring bias is a great place to start. Place your most compelling offers or best-selling products front and center above the fold. This sets a positive anchor right away.
So I should showcase my premium products first to make the others seem more affordable.
Exactly. It's about shaping their initial perception of value. You should also use strong, benefit-driven headlines that instantly convey the value you offer. And don't forget about social proof. Sprinkle in those trust-building elements like review counts or customer testimonials near your key calls to action.
It's all about building trust and excitement right from the get-go.
Precisely. Now, let's say a visitor clicks through to a collection or category page. This is where things can get tricky because they're suddenly bombarded with options.
Yeah, choice overload can be a real problem here.
Absolutely. To combat that, ensure your categories are well-defined and logically organized. Use clear descriptive labels so visitors can quickly find what they're looking for. Filters are crucial as well. Allow customers to narrow down the options based on their specific needs and preferences.
It's like giving them a personal shopping assistant to guide them through the maze.
Exactly. And don't forget to sprinkle in social proof here too. Highlight star ratings or bestseller tags to steer their attention toward popular choices.
Okay, so we've gotten them past the home page and onto the right category page. Now what?
Now they land on a product page. This is where you can really dial up the persuasive power of cognitive biases.
Let's hear it. I'm ready to unleash the power of persuasion.
Remember anchoring. Use it to your advantage here by displaying the original price next to the discounted price. This makes the sale seem even more enticing.
Right, good old anchoring. It's all about framing, as we discussed.
Exactly. And now's the time to bring in the heavy artillery. Social proof. Showcase those customer reviews and testimonials prominently, placing them right next to the Add to Cart button. Let the power of the crowd do the convincing for you.
Makes sense. What about scarcity and FOMO? Should I use those here too?
Absolutely. If it's appropriate for your product and you're being genuine, consider adding a countdown timer or a low stock message to create that sense of urgency. People are more likely to buy if they think they might miss out.
It's that fear of missing out that can really push them over the edge.
You got it. All right, we've guided them through the product pages, they've added items to their cart, and now they're at the checkout. This is the home stretch, but we can't let up just yet.
Right, it's all about getting them across the finish line.
Yeah.
What can we do to optimize the cart and checkout experience?
Well, at this stage, loss aversion and the desire for consistency become powerful motivators. Shoppers have invested time and effort, they've come this far, and they don't want to abandon their cart now.
So how do we make the checkout process as smooth and reassuring as possible?
First, use a progress bar to visually show customers how far along they are in the process. This taps into the endowed progress effect. People are more likely to complete a task if they feel like they've already made some progress.
It's like giving them a little pat on the back along the way.
Exactly. Next, incorporate trust badges, such as secure payment icons, to alleviate any anxieties about security. You can even remind customers what they'll be missing out on if they abandon their cart, gently nudging them toward completion.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground about how to strategically apply these biases throughout the customer journey. Now let's talk about how design can play a role.
Absolutely. Design elements can subtly influence behavior and make a huge difference in conversions.
Let's dive into that fascinating world of design. Where should we start?
Let's talk about color psychology. Colors evoke emotions and can subconsciously impact decision-making.
I've always been fascinated by that. How can I use color strategically to enhance my Shopify store?
Think about the emotions you want to trigger. Red, for instance, is often associated with urgency and excitement, making it a great choice for buy now or add to cart buttons. Green can evoke feelings of tranquility and sustainability, while blue often conveys trust and reliability.
So it's about choosing colors that align with my brand personality and the desired customer experience.
Precisely. And don't forget about contrast. Make sure your key elements, like calls to action, stand out against the background.
Okay, color is powerful. What about the overall layout and visual hierarchy of the page?
Visual hierarchy is about guiding the user's eye toward the most important elements first. You want to create a clear path for their attention to follow, highlighting what matters most.
So how do I achieve that?
Use size, spacing, and contrast to your advantage. Make your primary headlines large and bold while using smaller fonts for subheadings. Give your key calls to action plenty of white space to breathe, drawing the eye towards them.
It's all about creating a visual flow that feels natural and intuitive.
Exactly. When done well, visual hierarchy reduces cognitive load and helps customers effortlessly navigate your store.
This is making me look at my Shopify store in a whole new light.
Right.
What about typography? What are some best practices for readability?
Readability is crucial. You don't want to lose customers because they're struggling to decipher your text. Choose a font that's clean, easy to read, and works well on both desktop and mobile devices. Maintain a clear text hierarchy using headings, subheadings, bullet points, and ample line spacing.
So break it down into digestible chunks.
Right. Avoid long paragraphs. Make your text scannable and inviting.
Okay, we've covered text. Now let's talk about the power of imagery and visual content.
Images are essential for conveying emotion, building trust, and showcasing your products in their best light.
A picture is worth 1,000 words, as they say.
Exactly. Invest in high-quality product photos that showcase your products from multiple angles. Use consistent lighting and backdrops for a professional look. And don't be afraid to incorporate lifestyle images that show people using and enjoying your products.
It's about creating a visual story that resonates with customers.
Precisely. Now, let's move beyond the visuals and talk about the power of words. Copywriting and messaging are crucial for tapping into those cognitive biases and driving conversions.
I'm all ears. Tell me about the psychology of effective copywriting. Where do I begin?
Let's start with product descriptions. Remember, people are more motivated by what they stand to gain or lose than by a list of features.
So, benefits over features.
Exactly. Frame your product descriptions in terms of the benefits customers will experience. Use sensory language to help them imagine using your products.
Paint a picture with words?
Exactly. And consider subtly tapping into loss aversion by highlighting what they'll miss out on if they don't buy your product.
It's about creating a sense of desire and urgency without being pushy.
Precisely. Now, beyond product descriptions, let's talk about microcopy.
Microcopy, what's that?
Microcopy refers to those small bits of text you find on buttons, form fields, error messages, and throughout the user interface.
Those little snippets of text we often overlook.
Exactly. But they play a crucial role in guiding the user experience and shaping perceptions.
So, how can I optimize my microcopy for conversions?
Use clear, concise, and action-oriented language. For example, instead of a generic submit button, try something more inviting like join our community or get started today.
It's about making every interaction feel intentional and engaging.
Exactly. And when it comes to error messages, avoid negative or blaming language. Instead, offer helpful suggestions, and guide users toward a solution.
Turn a potentially frustrating moment into a positive one.
Precisely. Now, let's talk about how to use language to create a sense of urgency and scarcity.
This is where we need to tread carefully,
Gel.
right?
Absolutely. Honesty and authenticity are paramount. Never create false scarcity or use manipulative tactics.
Right, it's about building trust, not breaking it.
If you're running a genuine limited time offer or have low stock on a particular item, use clear and concise language to convey that information.
So phrases like limited time offer or only a few left.
Exactly. And countdown timers can be effective for highlighting the time sensitivity of an offer, but use these tactics sparingly and authentically.
Okay, we've covered a lot about optimizing for desktop. But what about those shoppers who are browsing and buying on their phones? How can we ensure a smooth and persuasive experience for shoppers on the go?
Mobile optimization is crucial. Remember, mobile shoppers are often on the move, have shorter attention spans, and are easily distracted.
So we need to cater to their unique needs and behaviors.
Absolutely. First and foremost, ensure your site is fully responsive and loads quickly on mobile devices.
Nobody wants to wait for a page to load, especially on their phone.
Exactly. Next, prioritize concise and scannable content. Mobile users are less likely to read lengthy blocks of text.
So get straight to the point and highlight the key benefits.
You got it. Make sure your buttons are large enough to tap easily and place your call to action prominently on the screen.
Optimize for touch interactions and minimize friction.
Precisely. Consider using progressive disclosure to show essential information first and then hide secondary details behind taps or swipes.
Prioritize the most important elements and create a streamlined experience.
Exactly. Now we've discussed a ton of strategies and tactics, but how do we know what's actually working? That's where testing and measuring come in.
That's right. Let's talk about A/B testing and analytics. But first, we'll hear another word from our sponsor, Growth Suite. Remember, Growth Suite is your go-to app for running smart discount campaigns on your Shopify store. Check it out for free on the Shopify App Store. Welcome back to the Conversion Bible. We're about to step into the data-driven world of A/B testing and analytics. It's time to see how we can measure the impact of these cognitive bias strategies.
Yeah, we've covered all these fascinating psychological principles, but it's the data that reveals what truly resonates with your audience. A/B testing is your best friend here. It's a simple but powerful way to compare two versions of a page or element to see which one performs better.
So we're talking about showing version A to one group of visitors and version B to another group, right?
Exactly. And then we track key metrics like conversion rates, click-through rates, or average order value to see which version wins.
It's a scientific approach to optimization. No more guessing games.
You got it. But before you start A/B testing, it's essential to have a clear hypothesis in mind.
So we're not just changing things randomly. We have a specific goal we're trying to achieve.
Precisely. For example, you might hypothesize that adding a countdown timer to your product page will increase conversions. You'd create two versions of the page, one with the timer and one without, and run the test to see if your hypothesis holds true.
Okay, that makes sense. So what about analytics? How do they fit into the picture?
Analytics are crucial for understanding how visitors are interacting with your store. Tools like Google Analytics provide a wealth of data on everything from traffic sources to conversion rates to customer demographics.
It's like having a behind-the-scenes look at what's working and what's not.
Exactly. Use analytics to track your progress over time, identify areas for optimization, and gain insights into your target audience.
It's all about making data-driven decisions, not relying on gut feelings.
You nailed it. And remember, Growth Suite can be a valuable tool in your arsenal. It helps you implement those smart discount campaigns that tap into scarcity and urgency. Give it a try for free on the Shopify App Store.
That's right. Thanks for joining us on the Conversion Bible powered by Growth Suite. Growth Suite helps you to run smart discount campaigns on your store. Test it for free on your Shopify store. Just land on the Shopify App Store now and test it for free. We'll see you next time for another deep dive into the world of e-commerce optimization.
Until then, happy selling.